Hey everyone, this is Ann Yorks from Flower Box Bakery, and today I'm going to be decorating a couple of cookies live. I'm here in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. That's where we're based out of, and if you're not familiar with our story, we actually converted our garage into a bakery, and that's where we're going to be decorating from today, which is kind of fun. So because we're approaching Teacher Appreciation Week and also the end of the school year, we're going to be doing 2 apple cookies, the nerdy apple, and we're also going to be doing a stenciled cookie with a new stencil that says teaching is a work of art, which is really cute. And to do these cookies, we're using the new cute apple from Ann Clark Cookie Cutters. This is available on our website, and I love the size and the shape of this cookie cutter. I feel like it's the only apple that I will need from here on out. Before we jump into that, I just wanted to let you know that because it's that time of year when we're doing tons of graduation and school projects, I also posted a video this morning, and I did a video tutorial of the graduation cap. And this is also a new cutter from Ann Clark. I just love the shape of the tassel on this. It's pretty awesome. So I show how to decorate that. I show a really quick and easy diploma cookie using tip number 44. And then I also show a gown cookie. And those are available on the Flower Box Bakery blog. That's on our webpage. And those are really the 3 cookies that I do with every graduation set. So they're kind of quick and easy, and they're all in one video. So hopefully that's helpful. Now today we are going to be decorating with tipless bags, and we have a special promotion that I'm going to tell you about at the end to do with our tipless bags. But the tipless bag gets its name because oftentimes you can decorate with these bags. You trim off the end and you use them for decorating, and you use it tipless. So let me give you a couple hints, because if you're anything like me and you haven't used them before, you might be a little bit hesitant. First of all, I like to just fold the bag over a glass so that I have both of my hands free, and that helps me to pour the icing nice and easy. I think one of the reasons why it took me so long to go tipless was because I was worried that they were going to be messier than using bottles, and I still love to use my bottles for those big orders. I just find that they're easier to fill. But these tipless bags, the advantage to that is that when you're all done, you can just throw them away, which is awesome. So now that we have the bag filled, I didn't trim it yet. Usually I'll either tie a knot in the end, and that'll keep the icing from oozing out because you don't want a huge mess on your decorating surface. Or if your bag is a little bit more full, let's say you're doing a dozen cookies and you need a nice full bag, I'll use one of these little Wilton icing bag ties. And you can use a clip, or I know sometimes people even use those little like plastic clips that come on a loaf of bread. That works as well. I learned that from my mother-in-law. That's how she does it. So now that we have our icing bag filled, we're going to adjust the camera so that I can do the tutorial, and I'm going to show you how I trim the edge of the bag. So, I see lots of people are joining me. I see some friends from Allentown. I grew up in Kutztown, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of close to there. North Carolina, Albuquerque. That's awesome. It's so good to have you guys decorating with me today. So now we're just going to get the tip, and I like to trim it so there's a little seam in this bag, if you can see that. And I like to trim the tip just right at the very end. And I always start small. And I'm going to trim it over my workspace, but normally I trim it over my paper towel. So I'm just going to give that a little trim. I like to start small. And if I'm doing a huge order and a big flood and I'm just doing like all white like this guy, I'll do a much larger opening. That makes the process go faster. And then I like to just keep the icing on a paper towel. So I'm going to just get my bags trimmed up. Now I still like to use my tips for outlining and details. And I just like the predictability of that. But you can also do tipless for that as well if you're feeling brave. So I'm just getting all my icings trimmed and getting them ready to do our little nerdy apple here. Now, if you have questions, definitely post those. And if I don't answer them now during the live feed, once I'm all done, I'll go back and I'll go through and answer those questions. All right, so now let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with just my blank apple, and this is where we're looking to go with that cute little apple. And to get those circles, if you don't feel like getting your projector out, I'm just going to use my yellow food marker, and I have, this is the lid to one of my squeeze bottles, and I'm going to keep the eyes toward the top of my apple just for spacing. So I'll just line that up, and then I'm just going to use that yellow marker and outline the circle. And then I'll do my second eye, and I just want to try to space them even. I want to leave a little room for the bridge over the nose of the glasses. So I don't want to get those circles too close. Now, if I were doing a couple dozen of these, that would probably take me a minute or two to outline those. Okay, so now let's outline. I have a tip on my piping bag, a tip number 2, and we're using royal icing today. I love royal icing just because of how it dries. So we have royal icing in the bags, and I have a thicker piping consistency that I'm going to use just to section off the eyes and outline the cookie. And then once I have this all outlined, we'll go back in and we're going to flood with a thinner consistency of the royal icing, and that will give us a nice flat surface then to pipe those details. So I didn't get my piping line exactly on the yellow, and that's okay because we're flooding over that. Nobody's going to see that. Now I'm going just down along the edge of the cookie, and I'm just working my way back, and I'm going to touch down. So now we're ready to go in with our tipless bag, and I'm going to use this just the same way that I do if I were flooding with a tip or with a bottle. So again, I like to be pretty generous with my flood. I'm going to go right up against those outlines, and I'm going to give a nice good squeeze. I find that that really helps the cookie look nice and full once it's all done. And for today's tutorial, I am actually using the new Sugar Bell food gels. Those just arrived a couple weeks ago. They're awesome. They're really vibrant. And this is the red from there. I also love the pink and the teal, which is really cool. Now you can see I'm pretty generous. I don't really need to tap the icing into place, but I can pop the bubbles with my scribe tool if I need to. Then I would put that cookie in front of a fan and let the icing dry for an hour or two. Looks kind of creepy without his eyes, so let's jump in and add those eyes. Now you could just do white and black for the eyes, but I find that adding an eye color really brings the apple to life. So I'm going to go in first, and I want to add just a little red exterior because his eyes aren't that big, but his glasses are definitely bigger than his eyes. So we're going to just go in and carefully work that tip around. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm just flooding the outside of the circle, leaving that opening for our for the white. So now that we have the red in there, I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to fill in those circles, and I'm going to try to get those rounded out a little bit more. And your scribe tool can help with that as well. All right. Now it looks like my white is going too far. Do you see that right there? And I don't like how that looks. So I'm actually going to go back in and add just a little bit of red to even that out. And just to get that more of a circle look. Okay, so you can do that when we have these wet on wet icing consistencies. We're just layering that icing in there. So now we're going to add our blue for the eyes. Again, I'm just adding a little circle there. And then once we have the color in, we're going to go back in with our black. Now I'm using this all with the tipless bags, but I trimmed these openings nice and small so that I don't get too much of an icing flow. And now we're ready to go back in with our white. I'm going to add a little reflection for his glasses. That the lens of his glasses have a little bit of a reflector, and then a little dot of white over the pupil just to give that a little bit more of a life look. Okay, so now that we have our eyes in, I would let that dry for, those are small areas, so just probably another, 35 or 45 minutes in front of the fan. And now we're ready to add our details. So again, we're using royal icing today. And the icing that I'm going to be adding the details is a thicker consistency. It's a piping consistency. So I'm going to add the glasses first. And I just switched from tip number 2, which is what I usually use, to tip number 4. This will give us that nice big rim to the glasses. And I'm just going to start at the base of the eye and follow that seam with the black icing just as I go around. Just taking my time and letting that icing fall into place. And then I'll ease off as I touch down. So now we're ready for the other side of glasses. Again, nice and easy as we go around. And now I'm going to add just that little, if you need to clean up the seam there, you can get your scribe in there and smooth that out if you notice a little bumpiness. And now I'm just going to curve up for the nose and the sides. Okay, I feel like that's probably the hardest part of the decorating, but let's finish his face and then we'll add the leaf. So now I have a tip number 2 on my red icing, and I'm just going to add a cute little red nose for this guy. And then I'm going to go back with my black, and I'm switching back to tip number 2, and I'm going to pipe this cute little side smile, just kind of a little bit smirky so that he looks like he learned something this year in school. And I'm just going to bring that, curve that down. All right, now for the leaf, I already flooded in my brown stem using the tipless bag. But now for the leaf, I'm going to go back in, and I have a tip number 67 on here. This will keep this leaf super quick. So I'm just going to bump that up there, and I'm going to give a good squeeze, and then I'm just going to wiggle side to side and pull that out just to get that nice big leaf on there. And that's our nerdy apple, which I think would please your students on their last day of school, but also your teachers will like that too. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to our stenciling project. So I'm just going to switch my workspace around. I did see a comment while I do that. I'm going to talk about this. I saw a comment about fragile black icing, that sometimes when you pipe your details in black, it gets a little bit fragile. And I see that too, so I find that fresh icing definitely works best. And I like to use fresh icing. Also, the more you can keep your packaging from touching on the black, you know, this leaf is kind of the tallest element on here and not rubbing on the black. And then I also think icing consistency has something to do with it too. This pipe had just a little bit of movement, giving it a nice smooth look. And I find that sometimes the thicker the icing is, the more crumbly it gets. So I hope that helps you if you ever notice that your black icing chips a little bit more than some of the other colors. I know that's helped me. Okay, so now let's jump into our stenciled project, and our goal is this, and we're gonna hopefully make this nice and easy by using this stencil from Stencil Expressions. We just started carrying their line of stencils, and they're awesome. They have really cool designs. They're all in the featured category on our website if you want to check them out. And I'll show you a couple when we're all done, in addition to a couple of new cookie cutters that just arrived. So I'm just lining that stencil up. It's a little bit of a, it's a really good fit on this cutter, but you have to make sure that you have it lined up just right so that you don't stencil off the cookie. And I have some pretty stiff red icing in this container here. I find the stiff icing works best, and I'm going to put this on my scraper. I like to load up my scraper because when I'm doing stenciled cookies, I want to get them done quickly, and so I like to load up the scraper, and then I can do, you know, 6 cookies all at once. Now the base of this icing has been drying for 6 hours, so I can put a little pressure on the surface of the cookie with my finger. And now I'm just going to go in, make any final tweaks to the location, and I'm just going to run this stencil going gently across with my icing. Just nice and easy. Now that I have the stencil covered, I'm just going to go back with one more pass and remove the excess. The cleaner you keep the stencil, the more times you can reuse it on another cookie. So I would then stencil a bunch more. It's a great way to add text to cookies. And then let me show you how to add that little stem. Because that stem is such a small little skinny icing area, I'm using the tipless bag. I have 20-second icing in here, so it's a little bit thicker than my flood. It'll hold its shape. And I'm just going to go up along the top, bring that line down. And I find for these small icing areas, these really work great. Again, you don't have to worry about cleaning out your tips. And it's such a small area that it's pretty easy to just wiggle the icing in there. So now we have our cookie stenciled, and I have one here that has the dry stem. Sorry, I forgot the word there. And I'm just going to go back in, and again, I'm using tip number 67, and I'm just going to wiggle from side to side and pull out that cute leaf. And then just to give this stencil a little bit of a pop, I'm going back in with some pink, and I'm just going to outline that little heart. And that adds such a cute little detail, but it's really simple. All right. And again, if you need to even out any of your icing, you can always use your scribe. I typically don't do that, but since you're watching, I'm going to do it just so everything looks just nice. Now this cookie project is lots of fun. So the Nerdy Apple, definitely, this guy takes a little bit more work, as you just saw. This one comes together a lot quickly. Another great accent is just using a mini heart cookie cutter, and you can just cut the heart out of your apple. I also did another apple where the core Looks like it's a heart shape. Again, another quick and easy cookie to go along with this apple. So first, today's tutorial featured this apple cookie cutter. It's $1.99 on our website. It's from Ann Clark Cookie Cutters, and it's just an awesome shape. We call it a cute apple. Also today, if you place an order, we're running a promotion for today only, May 2nd. And if you spend $35, we're going to add 100 free tipless bags to your order, so that you can try them out if you haven't tried them before. So again, you just need a minimum order of $35 and we'll pop 100 bags in your box, which is awesome. Oh, haha. This is what they look like. They have our logo on them, which is a lot of fun. I like the quality of these bags. They're a little bit thicker than the orange master bags that you can find out there, so that means no blowouts, which is awesome. A couple of new cutters. Now, if you don't follow Georgianne from Lila Loa, you really should. I'm not even sure if I'm saying her name right. I hope I am. But she's one of my favorite blogs, and she just released 2 new cookie cutters with Ann Clark. The unicorn face and then the cute unicorn. I cannot wait to try these out myself. Unicorns are still crazy popular, but you know what else is crazy popular? The llama. So we just released a video using this profile llama. Now we also have the cute llama alpaca cookie cutter, and I'm excited to try that one too. So those are some of the cool new cutters. Oh, one other cutter. This is one of my designs, and I'm so excited about this. This is a really cute latte cup, and I just think it's great for thanks a latte, love you a latte, anything a latte, a lot of fun. And that cutter is one of the cutters that I'll be using in my new Craftsy class. I was away in Denver a week and a half ago filming an online class, and that is going to be out in just a couple of weeks, and I'm going to share some photos with you soon in the coming weeks. All the marketing materials are coming to me. Can't wait to show you what I have been working on, but I can tell you that it's cookies season by season, so really cookie decorating all through the year. I don't know what's better than that. Now, I mentioned that the teaching is a work of heart. Stencil is from Stencil Expressions. They're one of the new lines that we're carrying. They have some cool ones like this Congratulations stencil. I also love this Love, Learn, Teach stencil. One thing that I think is really cool is this Connect the Dot stencil. So it's like a paint your own stencil plus connect the dot. I just feel like that is going to be super popular with the kids. I know my girls were really excited about that. And then we have a bunch of stencils in the school and graduation category. We have a lot of PYOs, so we have a lot of graduates. And then I also did this cute stencil from the Cookie Countess, and they're one of our favorite lines. We love John and Hillary. They're awesome. So I used my pinstripes stencil to get those lines on my cookie, and then I used the Thanks All You Can Do to get that on there. So hopefully that's a little bit more cookie inspiration for you. Now, before I forget to mention it, 2 more things real quick. Yesterday, a podcast from Lisa the Barefoot Baker. She does this awesome podcast called The Power of the Cookie, and it is super fun. I'm actually the 13th person, so there's 12 before me that you can listen to. So if you're feeling sleepy while you're decorating, definitely check out that podcast because it's a lot of fun to listen to. Also, if you missed anything during the tutorial today, maybe you joined us late, we're going to put that tutorial up on our YouTube channel. We have the Flower Box Bakery YouTube channel, and you can check out our broadcast there. Plus, don't forget the bonus graduation cookie tutorials out there. And now for my very last thing, I wanted to let you guys know that we're doing another giveaway tomorrow. We're doing it on the Flower Box Bakery Instagram page, so that's where you need to go to enter tomorrow. And we're going to do a $150 gift certificate to our website, flowerboxbakery.com. So you'll need to jump on Instagram tomorrow and comment on the post so that you can have a chance to win. All right, well, I really appreciate you guys joining me today. I feel like we had a lot of fun and I love connecting with you. I'm gonna go through and answer all your questions. At this point, we've seen people from all over the world, which blows my mind. I think that's super cool. 12 different countries and a bunch of people from out of state. So thanks so much for watching what's going on here in my little town of Bellefonte, and I'll catch up with you again soon. Thanks, bye.